Part 35. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 341. But what surprised him was that there were no traces of any other creatures on the ground. It was as if the countless artillery of Honglian City was just to smash various holes in the ground. A trace of solemnity appeared in his eyes, and he couldn't help but frowned. The light of the true destiny solution flickered, and countless mysteries appeared in his eyes. A faint black gas floated over the battlefield, which was a strange power. As these black gases continued to float in the air, they were evaporated by the blood-red sunlight of the Honglian realm. Judging from the speed of evaporation, it will be completely cleared within an hour at most. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. A trace of solemnity flashed in his eyes. In the past, the sunlight of the Honglian realm was not so active and powerful. But now these blood-red lights are flashing with incredible activity. This activity makes the light more blazing, but it has no effect on life. It's just that this kind of brilliance has a huge suppressive effect on the weird power. Seeing this scene, he was thinking in his heart. Although the third world change has caused the weird power to appear on a large scale, but the power of the world itself is also increasing, and the resistance to the weird power seems to be growing rapidly. Everything is relative, there are good and bad. After understanding it in his heart, his eyes continued to sweep across the entire battlefield. Then they also found that there were many traces of weird existences in many shadows. A gleam of light appeared in his eyes. This is a good thing. A cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He needed a lot of weird existences to light up his lotus handprint. In his opinion, those weird existences hiding in the shadows are the best food. After thinking about it, Lin Yi looked carefully and determined an area with little artillery baptism. The tree greening area there is relatively complete, there are more shadows, and there are many weird existences hiding in it. After locking the target, Lin Yi quickly approached there. At this time, in the army of Honglian City, a team of 10 people began to do a carpet cleanup outside. Lin Yi naturally saw the scene and guessed what they wanted to do. Take advantage of his illness to kill him. Daytime is the main battlefield of humans. With the help of the sun, these strange beings dare not be exposed to the sun. At this time, what they have to do is to clean up these surviving strange beings. Prevent them from becoming the source of danger again at night. The people in Honglian City are really sharp. They got the key point in an instant. Shaking his head with a complicated expression, Lin Yi no longer cared about these people, but quickly selected his target and rushed up. The area he selected was hundreds of meters away from the city boundary. On the way, he kept using the space canvas to move, and every moment was 10 meters away. No one noticed that he entered the battlefield. Soon the first strange being fell into his eyes. It was a strange being that seemed to be a wild dog mutated. There were traces of wild dogs all over his body, but the body was doubled, 2 meters high and 2 meters long. After seeing Lin Yi approaching him, it whined, its dark eyes full of brutality. Lin Yi stepped into the area of large shadows, and could even see at least 10 strange beings in the shadows. This black dog was just the strange being closest to him. He reached into his arms with one hand, where the summoning album was. 4 streams of smoke flew out of it, and the huge figure of the purple corpse monster appeared out of thin air in the air. With a huge impact, it fell towards the strange being in the form of a wild dog. Seeing the sudden appearance of the enemy, the strange being in the form of a wild dog was obviously stunned, and then roared and pounced on the purple corpse monster. The huge one opened directly, as if it wanted to bite the purple corpse monster to death. But a giant foot stepped directly on its upper palate, and suddenly exerted force. Crack! The strange being in the form of a wild dog was stepped directly from mid-air to the ground, and its head exploded directly, and it died instantly. A wisp of strange power silently flowed into Lin Yi's body and was transformed into spiritual waves. The violence of the purple corpse monster instantly alarmed the other strange beings in the shadow. These strange beings were not afraid at all and rushed towards Lin Yi and others from all directions. These strange beings were all mutated from various creatures. The violent power surged in their bodies, and they needed to vent madly, not caring about death at all. But the average power was only at the top and body level. Facing the four strange summons at the level of human immortals, there was no possibility. They didn't even have the qualifications to cause danger to them. Puff. The black smoke tentacles of the strange child violently output, like hundreds of whips, whipping the dozen strange beings that were rushing towards them. Almost in the blink of an eye, all these strange beings were whipped to the ground. Their bodies were directly split in half under the huge power of the black smoke tentacles. Not even a strange child could resist. Wisps of strange power quickly flowed into Lin Yi's body, and this was just the beginning of the massacre. After dealing with the strange existence in the shadow, Lin Yi continued to move forward with his summons, moving closer to the shadow farther away. This is simply a feast. For Lin Yi, these weird beings that are not at the level of human immortals are simply food for him. He kept shuttling in the shadows of the woods, and in a short time, he killed more than 100 weird beings. He quickly lit up a lotus handprint. At this time, the elite troops of Honglian City were also cleaning up the surroundings, relying on the power of the sun's brilliance in the Honglian realm. It was not too easy for them to clean up these weird beings. They only needed to force the weird beings into the sun, and they would be dead. Time passed by minute, and half a day passed in a blink of an eye. The scorching sun in the sky had reached its highest point, and it was noon in the entire Honglian realm. Lin Yi cleaned up various weird beings along the way, relying on his weird summons and his own rotation. He had killed thousands of weak weird beings and lit up 10 lotus handprints at the same time. At this time, 43 lotus handprints in his body had been lit up. This is an amazing number and gain. He was already dozens of kilometers away from Honglian City and came to the outside of a valley. There was an undulating mountain range in this area, which was not large, only a dozen square kilometers in size. Standing outside the valley, he stopped. Here he felt a huge breath. This breath was so amazing, almost the same as the strange existence he encountered last night, or even stronger. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes, above the third level of the human immortal way. Such a powerful strange existence actually appeared. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 342. This is a big guy. Although surprised, Lin Yi had no intention of taking action. Outside the House of Everything, his power has not increased, and he might die if he fights against such a big guy. However, he would not leave this kind of thing alone, so he directly took out the phone and dialed a number. "Mr. Lin, what's the matter?" Bang bang bang. Lin Yi heard gunfire from the other side of the phone, and Huang Yiming obviously seemed to be in the middle of a fight. Lin Yi kept his story short and said, "I discovered a strange existence on the human immortal path in a mountain col dozens of kilometers away from Red Lotus City. I know that Red Lotus City's elite troops are dealing with these strange existences. So I'll send you an address and you can come and have a look." After speaking, Huang Yiming hung up the phone without waiting for a reply. Then a satellite positioning address was sent. After smiling, Lin Yi turned around and rushed in the other direction, starting to continue his cleaning work. Time passed by minute, and soon it was midnight, and the afterglow of the setting sun enveloped the entire world. Lin Yi has returned to the border of Honglian City. Looking back, as the sunset in the sky faded, countless black gases rose from the earth. Apparently a new night of chaos is about to begin. Lin Yi did not stop at the border and returned directly to the House of Everything. We returned to Wanchaiwu in 10 minutes. After fighting outside for a day, he didn't eat lunch or dinner. Sitting in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of Wanchaiwu, 5 plates of thick steaks were already served in front of him. The knife and fork danced in his hands, and he devoured all the food in just 10 minutes. Feeling the warm feeling in his stomach, he couldn't help but let out a deep breath. He didn't plan to do anything else tonight, but focused on practicing. With a whole day's harvest, he pushed the brilliance of the Lotus Mudra to 54, which was half done. He estimated that this time the chaos would last at least another week. Only then would it be possible to clean up all the weird existences outside. After finishing dinner, Lin Yi ignored vodka and the others. Instead, he went directly back to his bedroom and began to practice the last step of the first level of human immortality. Refined liquid. This is a somewhat peculiar realm that requires condensation of liquefied essence. The method of condensation is rather strange. At this time, Lin Yi was sitting cross-legged on his bed, running the powerful Vajra-seal technique. The rich essence flowed in his body, roaring like a river. Crash. You can even hear the sound outside, like a real river. At this time, a spiritual flame enveloped every corner of his body. He could feel the changes in his body every moment, and the spiritual fire was forging the essence of his life. This is a slow and long-lasting process, and I don't know how long it will last. But these are not important to him now. According to the operation method of the first level of the powerful Vajra-seal technique, he began to refine the liquid. All the energy returned to the spiritual pool, and then Lin Yi looked inside at his heart and kidneys. A move of will. 2 streams of essence separated from the spiritual pool and rushed into the kidneys and heart. Then these 2 spirits quickly returned to the spiritual pool. After returning to the spirit pool, the colors of these 2 essences changed slightly. The essence leading to the heart has a faint red light, while the essence flowing into the kidneys exudes a faint black light. The 2 spirits collided in the spiritual pool, and a wonderful change occurred in an instant. It's like thunder in the sky and fire in the earth. There was an inexplicable sizzling sound, a sound that directly sounded at the soul level. A mysterious vortex was created where the 2 spirits collided, swallowing both spirits completely. This vortex exists stably in the spiritual pool, and the essence in it seems to be undergoing a change. Lin Yi did not stop after seeing the vortex appear. Instead, he continued to mobilize the liquid essence in his body, continuously flowing into his heart and kidneys, and finally rushed into the vortex. With the continuous infusion of essence, this vortex became larger and larger, rapidly expanding to the entire spiritual pool. All the liquid essence in the spiritual pool was eventually integrated into it. A hazy golden light was gestating in the whirlpool. I don't know how much time has passed. At this time, the vortex seemed to have a mysterious attraction. From the kidneys and heart, wisps of faint mysterious light slowly flowed out and poured into the vortex. The vortex turned red and black, like the sea and flames, water and fire blending together. At this time, the spiritual flames all over Lin Yi's body seemed to be attracted by this whirlpool. A trace of spiritual flame flowed from the body into the vortex. With the inflow of spiritual flames, the vortex rotates faster and faster. The essence inside seemed to be stimulated by something, and it made a thunderous roar. It kept ringing in Lin Yi's mind, causing his whole body to be enveloped in a kind of mental shock. Lin Yi looked inside and could feel the essence changing. Rumble. Like thunder exploding from the sky, the vortex suddenly collapsed under the illumination of a pure golden light. It was a ray of light rising from the deepest part of the vortex. This radiance is filled with the nature of a diamond, and there seems to be an eternal mystery hidden in it. The light expanded to the entire spirit pool in an instant. The spirit pool looked like a golden orb under the light. The golden light rushed out of the spirit pool quickly and spread to the whole body along the meridians. Lin Yi was like a statue emitting golden light at this moment. He was also like the Buddha in the West, emitting a golden and eternal temperament. At this moment, Lin Yi broke through the first level of the human immortal path, the realm of liquid refining. He entered the first small realm of the second level of the human immortal path, light transformation. There are 3 realms in the human immortal path, and each realm has 3 small realms. The second level is divided into light transformation, light refining, and life ring. He has now entered the realm of light transformation, and all his essence has undergone a qualitative change again, turning into light. The speed of essence mobilization in this state is faster than that of liquid essence, and it can be spread all over the body in an instant. At the same time, it will also increase the upper limit of power output to a certain extent. Originally, Lin Yi's upper limit of power output had reached 15% of essence, and now it has reached 17% with the essence turning into light. As for the next step, it is to practice light. The so-called practice of light does not mean to improve the quality of light essence, but to improve one's control of light. Only when the control of light reaches a certain level can one start to impact the third level. Whether the practice of light is successful depends on whether it can form a life ring. The so-called life ring is actually a mysterious structure of essence and energy transportation. The structure of the life ring is found from various mysterious skills or inscriptions. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 343. At this time, Lin Yi only had the follow-up technique of the human immortal path, the Great Power Vajra Seal method, in his hand. What he had was the life ring structure of this technique. Taking a deep breath, the structure of the life ring emerged in his mind. He wanted to try whether he could conclude the life ring. If he could, it meant that he could directly reach the peak of the second level of the human immortal path. In addition to the first level of the human immortal path, which requires energy accumulation, the second and third levels are fundamentally about cultivation and change, not accumulation. Lin Yi's consciousness was completely concentrated in the spirit pool. The essence of light quickly gathered into a ball under the control of his consciousness. Perhaps it was because he had condensed a trace of spirit, and the control of the essence of light was as easy as using his fingers and arms, without any difficulty. Wherever his consciousness went, the light would change according to his thoughts. The next moment, the light began to move rapidly, extending a trace of light to form a wonderful structure in the spirit pool. It was a asterisk symbol, which was woven from strands of light silk threads. At this time, it was taking shape at an astonishing speed. In just a short while, Lin Yi consumed all the light in his body and wove this complete symbol. At the same time, he began to mobilize his spirit to push the swastika symbol to rotate. It rotated like a roulette wheel, and the speed was amazing. At this time, the symbol appeared in Lin Yi's sight as a golden ring. As it turned into a disc, Lin Yi could feel that there were wisps of mysterious things in his body, floating towards the disc. It seemed to be a fragment of his own consciousness, and he knew what it was in an instant. The first small realm of the third level of the human immortal way, fusion of spirit. The consciousness instinct of ordinary people is spread all over the body, and with the appearance of the life ring, it will slowly absorb the consciousness instinct of the human body into it. So that the life ring controls the entire human body and connects to every corner of the human body. Integrating into consciousness instinct, this is the third level of the human immortal way. At this level, instinct will be controlled by the practitioner, and any instinctive impulse can no longer affect the practitioner's thinking. Lin Yi watched all this magic quietly. Through a trace of spirit in his mind, he could even observe countless consciousness instincts in his body, just like a swallow returning to its nest, rushing towards the life ring. A trace of consciousness instinct was peeling off from all parts of the body, turning into countless threads connected to the life ring. This was a very wonderful experience, which Lin Yi had never seen before. He felt that the various impulses in his body were separating from his spirit. He could even control his instincts at will, making it happen or stop, and his spirit was not affected by instinctive impulses. Is this the ultimate realm of the human immortal? The perfect control of his own body feels like controlling a character in a game, without any delay. At the same time, he could feel that his control over his body had been directly improved to a higher level. For example, in the past, if he wanted to attack, it would take 0.1 seconds, but now with the body's instincts integrated into the life ring, the speed has increased to 0.01 seconds. At least 10 times the difference. This means that he will react faster to any external stimulation. At this time, everything has not stopped. With all the instinctive consciousness in the body integrated into the life ring began to tremble slowly. There was a faint resonance with Lin Yi's body. This resonance came in waves, and Lin Yi felt that something amazing was happening. All the power in his body was rushing into the life ring. Even the spiritual flame, this invisible power was rushing into the life ring. The life ring was like a huge vortex storm, swallowing everything close to it. Time passed by minute, and Lin Yi didn't know how long it had passed. He only had a trace of ethereal spirit in his body. All his power, even life itself, was rushing into the life ring. His body was like a shell at this time, becoming dry and pale, without a trace of breath. At this time, no external power flowed into his body, and everything was changing by himself. In the center of his spirit pool, the life ring also underwent further changes after swallowing countless powers. It began to shrink rapidly in rotation, and a golden dot appeared in the center of the life ring. This dot was even slowly, bit by bit, swallowing the entire life ring. I don't know how much time has passed, accompanied by a mysterious roar. There was a crackling sound from the spirit pool. It seemed to be the sound of breaking some restraints. A pure golden light burst out from the spirit pool, quickly penetrating all the restraints of the spirit pool and meridians, and quickly covering Lin Yi's whole body. Vigorous vitality burst out from his body, and his originally dry and decayed body quickly became plump in an instant. A trace of black matter melted in the golden light, and all these black substances were garbage in his body. At this time, Lin Yi looked ethereal, like a god or Buddha, with pure gold all over his body. A thumb-sized golden pill appeared in the center of the spirit pool. All the light in Lin Yi's body came from this pill. The third level of the human immortal way, the pill way. At this time, the infinite golden light emitted by this pill annihilated all the garbage in Lin Yi's body. All the pores in Lin Yi's body were closed, and the golden light was constantly running in his body. All the meridians and blood vessels were penetrated by this ray of light, and all the organs in his body were integrated into one under the connection of the light. This is a perfect internal closed cycle, with a feeling of endless life and no external help. However, Lin Yi quickly realized that this was just an illusion. Above his head, strands of energy were slowly being absorbed into the golden light, and only after transformation would they be integrated into the pill in the spirit pool. At this time, he felt that as the pill took shape, his demand for external energy began to appear. Obviously, the light essence did not fill the pill, and a lot of energy was needed to replenish it. Lin Yi was completely immersed in cultivation, waiting for the moment to reach the peak completely. Time passed by minute, and when the pill in the spirit pool slowly jumped, all the golden light was retracted in an instant and quickly returned to the pill. At the same time, there was no trace of Lin Yi's breath on his body. If the eyes did not see him, other people could not feel his existence at all. One of the characteristics of the third level of the human immortal path is the unleaked true body. All the essence, energy, and spirit are stored in the body, and nothing is exposed. At the same time, this is also the limit of the pure energy of the human body. Since ancient times, no one has been able to surpass this limit. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 344. At this moment, Lin Yi is already in a perfect physical state. Without any flaws, a warm wave permeates from the pill. This wave nourishes every cell and gene in his body, allowing his body to continue to move towards a perfect state. In the next week, his body will undergo a complete transformation. His life limit will also be extended to 150 years, reaching the limit of life state of human cell division. The most important thing is that in this state, he will not even age. Only in the last few days when his lifespan is exhausted, will some abnormalities appear. For example, his hair will turn completely white overnight, which means that his life is about to come to an end. The third level of the human immortal path has never appeared in ancient times, at least in ancient times when the sect was hidden. With the changes in the world now, there are rumors on the internet that someone has reached this realm. Now Lin Yi has finally set foot in this realm, relying on his own efforts and various opportunities. Taking a deep breath, Lin Yi slowly stood up from his bed, feeling the refreshment of his body, and all the fatigue was swept away. Pushing open the door of the bedroom and entering the hall, he looked at the clock. It was already 11 o'clock in the middle of the night. It had been 4 hours since he entered the bedroom. He had completed the limit leap from the first level to the third level of the human immortal way. This growth rate would probably scare countless people to death. It was also thanks to his cultivation of the spirit pool to the extreme, and at the same time he obtained enough spiritual sources. A trace of pure spirit was born, and his control of essence far exceeded that of ordinary practitioners. At the same time, he completed all the accumulation of essence at the first level, so he could do all this. In terms of the total amount of essence, he has definitely reached the limit of human beings. Even the third level of the human immortal way Dan Dao master of the same level is definitely not as good as Lin Yi. First of all, the 9-foot-9 limit spirit pool is not something that anyone can cultivate. It probably requires a certain amount of luck. Secondly, you must obtain enough spiritual sources to improve the essence of life, thereby affecting all aspects of the body, and even the purity of the essence. Lin Yi stood in the lobby, which was empty at this time. Brandy, vodka, and absinthe all seemed to have returned to their respective bedrooms. Lin Yi gently opened the door, stood on the street of Honglian City, and looked outside Honglian City. The sky there was shrouded in a faint red light. From time to time, a huge roar could be heard. It was obvious that the war was continuing there, and the strange beings had once again launched an attack on Honglian City. It has been 4 or 5 hours since nightfall, and the war there has not stopped at all. It seems that after the Third World Change, the number of strange beings has increased a bit. Thinking of this, his heart was a little heavy, which meant that the future would be very dangerous. If this high-intensity war continued for 10 days, I am afraid that the war resources stored by the entire Honglian Empire would be exhausted. That was when the real danger began, and the industrial system would collapse under the invasion of strange beings. The system of the empire would also collapse, and the world would be divided and fall into a state of fighting each other. Only the strong can survive, and the weak can only rely on the strong to survive. Everything is like the doomsday novels on the internet in the past. It is almost a foreseeable future. So where should the Wanchaiwa go? In his heart, Lin Yi does not want the doomsday to come at all. He is a person who likes peace and tranquility. Watching the news every day, thinking about food or traveling around, counting countless money, what a pleasant life it is. He has never been interested in fighting and killing, unless there are huge benefits. However, the current situation does not allow him to make more choices. Once things go as he expected and slide towards a bad situation, he is afraid that he can only prepare and try to make the Wanchaiwa move across the border. But the empire will also anticipate the situation, and the sects and the weird side are not easy to predict. So the possibility of entering the worst state is still very low. But we still have to prepare, and the Wanchaiwa must accumulate more power. I need to lure more weird beings to come from the other world. These weird beings seem to like flesh and blood very much, maybe we can try it? Thinking of this, Lin Yi already has a plan in his mind, and tonight is just the right time to try it. 12 o'clock is coming soon. Coo coo coo. The birds chirped again in the hall. Brandy, vodka, and absinthe all appeared here. Tonight's experiment might cause unpredictable threats, so Lin Yi called the three down directly. He was still familiar with his own strength in the past hour. As he entered the third level of the human immortal path, he had to be familiar with the impact of this realm on the true life source. For example, would the random conversion of the technique affect the existence of the pill? The final conclusion after the experiment was that it had no effect at all, and the true life source was really mysterious. In theory, he condensed the pill of the great power Vajraseal method, which naturally had its special characteristics according to the different structures of the life ring. But after changing the structure of the technique energy through the true life source, the pill did not collapse due to the change in the energy structure. However, relying on the true destiny solution, he also found the problem. The deepest part of the pill still has the mysterious structure of the life ring. When he uses the true destiny route to convert the energy properties, the energy that constitutes the life ring will also change, but the structure of the life ring will not collapse due to the change of energy properties. Obviously, the life ring structure itself is not restricted by the energy properties. After being thoroughly familiar with his new power, the time is almost 12 o'clock. Lin Yi and vodka, brandy, and absinthe sat on the sofa, waiting for the alien existence that might appear today. As the time reached 12 o'clock, wisps of mist slowly floated out and quickly spread throughout the Wanchai-wu. Strange fluctuations are rapidly appearing. The door of the Wanchai-wu also began to emit red light, and a snow-white paper slowly floated out from the door of the Wanchai-wu. The strange child quietly appeared, took the snow-white paper, and put it in front of Lin Yi. Picking up the paper, Lin Yi saw the words on it, which were written in blood. Please save my family. I am willing to pay any price. Great existence. Looking at the letter for help, Lin Yi thought for a while, picked up a pen, and wrote below. I can save you. Write down in detail what happened to you. The house of everything I created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 345. I will quote a price based on the difficulty of the matter, and decide whether to save you. Don't lie to me or hide anything from me, otherwise your letter for help will never reach me again. After writing it, Lin Yi handed the letter for help to the strange child. The strange child put the letter into the red door, and then the red light emitted by the door slowly dimmed. At the same time, a strange sound came from outside the door. Dong dong dong. The four people's hearts tightened, and Lin Yi's voice rang in their ears. Don't look back, who knows what's outside? As he said this, Lin Yi pinched the aquaria seal with his hand, his spirit was round, and he was shrouded in a blue-gold light, without any mental flaws. Turning his head to look out the French window, there was a strange existence wearing a strange mask and a top hat, wearing an exquisite suit and holding a cane. The moment he saw him, Lin Yi's pupils shrank. He had seen this strange existence before. This time, the other party seemed to come again. He looked at Lin Yi with a cold look, as if he was looking at a dead object. Lin Yi's eyebrows jumped. At this time, he had reached the limit of the third level of the human immortal way. He felt a pressure from this monster, but it was not as weak as last time. The light of the true destiny in his eyes flickered, and he captured all the fluctuations of this strange existence in an instant. In terms of the power of the strange will, the other party's fluctuations were only about 1/3 stronger than his own. If the other party came to the Wanchi house, he could completely ignore this gap. A sneer appeared along the corner of his mouth, and he looked at the monster indifferently. At this time, the strange existence stood in front of the French window and slowly raised his right hand. A small black stone appeared there. The moment he saw the small black stone, the light of the true destiny in Lin Yi's eyes flickered. It was a mysterious fluctuation of time and space. This strange gentleman crushed the small black stone with his left hand. A mysterious space-time fluctuation quickly spread along his left hand to his whole body. For some reason, Lin Yi could feel that this strange gentleman was smiling, looking at him with a cold smile. Then this strange gentleman slapped the French window with his left hand. The French window bulged inward quickly like rubber, and the distortion of space and time was appearing with amazing fluctuations. Lin Yi frowned and said in a low voice, "Be careful, this guy is coming in." As his voice fell, brandy and absinthe quickly retreated to the corridor. Purple corpses, strange children, bad doctors, and two-headed dogs appeared next to them. The corrosive mist of the bad doctor has quickly spread throughout the lobby. As long as the other party comes in, they will begin to be affected by corrosion. At the same time, the two-headed dog also stood on the bar counter, with two mouths open, and black ice and fire brewing and accumulating power in it. As soon as the other party comes in, they will be hit by thunder. The strange child rode on the back of the two-headed dog, with countless black smoke filling his back. The black smoke tentacles were ready to move and could attack at any time. The purple corpse monster stood in front of Lin Yi, becoming an indestructible thick wall. So many strange beings died in the Wanqi house yesterday, which increased its power. The corresponding strange summons also gained an increase, among which the purple corpse monster was undoubtedly the most powerful. His pure power even exceeded the third level of the human immortal way, a completely inhuman level of power. His recovery ability also became more exaggerated, and sometimes Lin Yi envied these strange beings very much. Their characteristics can almost become infinitely stronger, completely unlike humans, and are subject to various constraints. For example, the balance of genes, the limitations of physical properties and other issues. The complex emotions in his heart were instantly swept away by him, and his eyes silently looked at the scene in front of him. A hand has passed through the distorted time and space protruding from the floor-to-ceiling window and entered the Wanqi house. Behind Lin Yi, the Zhenchan seal floated out silently. His essence poured into it violently, consuming about 10% of his essence, and the mountain seal was completely filled. The light of the true Fate Dao flashed, and the energy within a radius of 3 meters around it was all spreading towards the mountain seal. In an instant, the mountain seal turned into a palm-sized golden jade hill. The terrifying power was hidden in it without revealing a bit. At this time, Lin Yi's control range of the mountain seal expanded to 3 meters. The masters of the human immortal level have a limited range for their own power control. The range of the first layer is 1 meter, the second layer is 2 meters, and the third layer can reach 3 meters. This is the conclusion drawn after the Empire's research. There are too many things that Lin Yi can do within the range of 3 meters. There was a hint of coldness in his eyes. As long as half of the body of the strange existence stepped into the Wanqi house, he would launch a full-strength attack. The moment when half of the body entered the Wanqi house was the strongest and weakest moment of this monster. The strongest because at that time he would be fully alert, and the weakest because at that time he would not be able to move. He can only face the attack from Lin Yi. If he cannot withstand such an attack, then failure and death will be his only fate. There is only a moment of opportunity for all this. If he fails to seize it, then Lin Yi will have to face the strange gentleman in a state of complete victory. It will be a very dangerous war at that time. This strange gentleman has definitely surpassed the human immortal path and reached the higher level of the ghost immortal path. Lin Yi's eyes showed an unprecedented solemnity. Time passed by minute, and he was waiting quietly. Everyone was waiting with him. Vodka's body was already burning with black flames, and he stood next to Lin Yi. The strange gentleman's arm went deeper and deeper into the Wanqi Wu. Both hands of the strange gentleman had already reached in, and his right hand was firmly holding a gentleman's cane. Under Lin Yi's true destiny, this cane had no secrets in front of him. Destroy. Under the observation of the true destiny, he immediately knew the role and function of this cane. Any material touched by this cane will collapse in an instant and turn into the most basic atomic particles. This is a big killer, very dangerous, and even people dare not approach it easily. A cold light appeared in his eyes, and a thought flashed through Lin Yi's mind: I can't wait any longer, I must act immediately. Taking a deep breath, Lin Yi moved. The left hand made the divine speed seal, the right hand made the lion seal, the spiritual waves in the body circulated, and the combat power instantly reached the peak. Like a ray of blue-gold light, it flashed in front of the French window. The right hand made the lion seal blast towards the strange gentleman's right arm holding the cane. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 346. He wanted to smash the opponent's arm with one blow and take down the strange cane. This strange gentleman seemed to notice Lin Yi the moment he moved. The moment he arrived in front of the French window, the strange cane turned into a black shadow and chopped down on his head. But Lin Yi at this time also expected that the moment he arrived at the French window, the true source of life has been activated, and then the illusionary law of immortals is running. In an instant, he turned into three phantoms and appeared in front of the French window, on the left and right. This change made the strange gentleman outside the French window look a little surprised. But he did not panic, but the cane in his hand swirled and chopped to the right. There was clearly nothing there, just air. But Lin Yi's heart jumped, because he knew that his Taoism had been seen through. The speed seal in his hand flashed, and he instantly avoided the black cane. But I don't know when, a golden object suddenly appeared from behind Lin Yi, who avoided the cane. The amazing speed flashed past and hit the back of the strange gentleman's hand holding the cane. There was no fancy, only a flash of blue-gold light. The next moment, the right arm of this strange existence collapsed directly and turned into countless flying ashes. Bang! With a dull sound, the cane had already carried inertia and inserted straight into the ground in the lobby. At this time, a black smoke tentacle of the strange child had crossed a distance of several meters and directly entangled the mysterious cane. But a terrifying scene happened. The moment the black smoke tentacles touched the strange cane, it seemed to encounter some indescribable power. It turned directly into a piece of black gas and could no longer gather. The strange child could no longer control them, as if these black gases had completely erased the mark of the strange child. Seeing this scene, Lin Yi's eyes showed a trace of coldness, and he naturally knew what was going on. All powers contain a trace of the user, which is why they can use these powers. But now this strange cane has erased this trace. The power that made the strange child form the black smoke tentacles has returned to its most primitive state. It does not belong to anyone, but is just a kind of wonderful energy between heaven and earth. When Lin Yi saw this scene, the light of the true destiny in his eyes flickered, and he was analyzing everything that happened. He could even see that the cane was looming, and there was a mysterious wave connected to the strange gentleman outside the French window. At this time, along with his right arm shattered, the strange gentleman issued an angry emotional wave. Lin Yi's heart moved slightly. Is this strange existence intelligent? Thinking of this, a trace of solemnity appeared in his eyes. The strange gentleman withdrew his left hand at this time, and he obviously gave up the plan to rush into the Wanqi house from the French window. He sensed the danger, and if he was besieged during the entry, there would be a risk of death. And most importantly, his most important weapon was lost in the Wanqi house. The strange existence took a deep look at Lin Yi, and a mysterious wave was appearing from all directions, wanting to invade Lin Yi's body and gain control over him. But Lin Yi had already learned from the past lessons at this time. At the moment when this strange gentleman withdrew his left hand, he had already concluded the Aquarius seal, and at the same time transformed his own skills through the true life source, turning it into the great power Vajra seal. The whole body was covered with a cyan gold glow, allowing him to maintain himself under this invisible mysterious power. The summons behind him, as well as Vodka and others, had already retreated into the passage under his silent notification, and did not dare to look outside at all. Seeing that his efforts and attempts were ineffective, this strange gentleman seemed to feel angry. He let out an indescribable roar, and a wave swept around with him as the center. The dense fog was forced back by this force, revealing a very strange scene. A dry dense forest appeared outside the Wanchaiwu, and it could be vaguely seen that there seemed to be figures looming in those dense forests. Seeing this scene, Lin Yi took a breath of cold air, because those figures were all strange existences. What surprised him most was that after nightfall, the Wanchaiwu seemed to be connected to another world, the origin of all strange existences. He took a deep breath, and his eyes showed an unprecedented solemnity. Be more careful in the future, and never open this door from the inside. Unless the power of the wish shrine is activated and connected to the unknown time and space for a contract. The strange gentleman outside the French window lost his right arm and crutches, and after a roar of anger, he disappeared silently in the gradually surrounding fog. Obviously, in this case, he did not intend to attack the Wanchaiwu again. Feeling the disappearance of the mysterious erosion force around him and the departure of the strange gentleman outside, Lin Yi was slightly relieved at this time. There should be no problem outside today. Just as he was thinking, a cry of exclamation sounded in the corridor of the Wanchaiwu. "Manager, the manager has something," Brandy's voice screamed. Lin Yi turned and walked towards the corridor. When he came to the corridor, he saw strange faces on the ceiling, protruding into the corridor. Those faces were without any facial features but had human heads. They were so densely packed that they filled the ceiling. This horrifying scene made everyone aware of the danger. Each of them had the breath and power of the human immortal level. They were sinking rapidly, breaking through the distortion of time and space and entering the Wanchaiwu. Lin Yi immediately ordered everyone to exit the corridor and return to the lobby, and at the same time prepare for battle. In less than a few seconds, strange things emerged from the corridor. They had heads, but they had no faces. Their skin was completely white, and their heads were covered with white hair, and there were more than a dozen white tentacles under their heads. The hair and tentacles were fluttering in the air, as if they were alive and wriggling strangely. At this time, with the first human-headed monster flying out, Lin Yi and his team's attack had begun. The first to attack was the two-headed dog, and his ice and firestorm suddenly sprayed towards the entire corridor. In this narrow corridor, these strange human-headed beings had no room to hide. All the human-headed monsters that rushed out of the distorted time and space were instantly covered by the ice and firestorm. Chirp! The strange cry exploded in an instant. Countless tentacles and hair covered with flames or ice rushed out of the corridor. It seemed that they wanted to eliminate the source of danger, the two-headed dog. But the result was sad. These tentacles and hair were completely burned or frozen the moment they extended out of the corridor. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 347. Under the scourge of the ice and firestorm, these strange heads had no chance of resistance. The strange chirping sound collapsed instantly, and they all went to death. Either covered by black ice or burned by flames. The two-headed dog sprayed the ice and firestorm for a full minute, and no white human-headed monster could rush out. When the ice and firestorm stopped, only a piece of ash remained on the ground. This remaining piece of ash also quickly sank into the floor of the Wanchaiwu. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. At this time, Lin Yi felt a lot of strange power being drawn into his body. After the spiritual wave was running for a while, the illuminated lotus handprint rose again by 5. Seeing that the crisis in the corridor was resolved, Lin Yi looked at the strange crutch inserted into the lobby floor. He walked over a few steps, and a green light appeared in his hand. The spiritual wave extended out quickly, touched the strange cane, and spread to the inside of the cane. A strange will was spreading in it, and after touching Lin Yi's spiritual wave, this will felt the danger and began to struggle frantically, but it had no resistance to the spiritual wave. In less than 10 seconds, the strange cane was completely covered by the spiritual wave. The spiritual wave also penetrated into the core of the cane and quickly refined it. A message emerged in his mind. Destruction cane. Looking at this exquisite Western gentleman cane, Lin Yi showed a hint of joy in his eyes. This thing will be the most powerful lethal weapon in his hands in the future. The reason lies in the characteristics of the destruction cane that destroys everything. Any matter or energy, as long as it touches the destruction cane, will be decomposed into the most basic unit. Any spiritual will remaining on it will also be destroyed. This is the most dangerous part of the destruction cane. And it looks inconspicuous, and no one would think it is such a dangerous thing. It will be very useful when playing the fool to eat the tiger in the future. Taking the cane of destruction in his hand, Lin Yi touched it with joy, and set it as his common weapon in the future. The most dangerous thing about strange things is its characteristics, which almost ignore most level restrictions. It can be used by beings of any level, and it will also have an effect on beings of any level. Gently waving the cane of destruction, Lin Yi was a little impatient to try its power. At this time, his heart moved, and a wave of strange existence came from the backyard. Without any hesitation, he walked directly to the backyard. I don't know when, a small hill like black mud appeared there. This hill occupied 1/3 of the area in the backyard, and it was filled with a strong stench. The moment he smelled the stench, Lin Yi felt his vision blurred and immediately knew that it was not good. Poison gas. Close the breath, and at the same time, the root of the true life is running, and King Mugongren Xiandao appears. The long-lasting essence quickly covered the whole body, dissipating the poisonous gas that entered the body, while maintaining its normal operation. A trace of cold light appeared in his eyes, looking at this hill like black mud. This hill of black mud seemed to have no eyes, but Lin Yi could feel it. The other party's side had already fallen on him, locking him. The light of the true destiny solution flashed, and in an instant he saw the structure of this mass of mud. The huge body of this mass of mud was just an appearance, and a black core kept swimming in this mud. A trace of strange power permeated from this core, covering every corner of the black mud. It was the core that controlled this strange black mud. At this time, the black mud launched an attack on Lin Yi, and countless tentacles made of black mud slapped him from all directions. The huge force brought a whirring sound. But the broken crutch in Lin Yi's hand flashed like a sharp blade. All the tentacles that touched it were cut off in an instant. The cut parts all turned into the most basic mud and sand under the power of the destruction cane and fell to the ground. Lin Yi showed a trace of satisfaction in his eyes. This strange cane was a killer weapon that could not be touched. It completely ignored any restrictions of energy and matter, or the essence of energy concentration and material strength, and had not yet reached the level of suppressing the strange power in the destruction cane. After seeing the great power of the destruction cane, Lin Yi smiled, and his body flashed and the source of his true life was running. Illusionary law immortal path is online. Transformed into 3 Lin Yi, they rushed towards the black mud from the left, right and top directions. This black mud did not seem to have the ability of the strange gentleman to see through the illusion. The tentacles transformed by the black mud chopped directly at the 3 illusory Lin Yi. The real Lin Yi had arrived in front of the black mud, and the destruction cane pierced into the black mud's body. The tip of the destruction cane directly pierced into the constantly moving core, and it could not escape Lin Yi's lock at all. Crack. A crisp sound. This strange existence like black mud suddenly turned into countless mud and sand, completely losing its vitality. Then these mud and sand quickly broke into the ground of the small courtyard, and everything returned to calm. Feeling the great power of the destruction cane, Lin Yi nodded with satisfaction. With the help of the characteristics of this destruction cane, his combat power has been greatly improved again. Even when facing the mysterious existence he saw in the tomb of Teju of the Great Yu dynasty last time, he also has the confidence to fight, and he will not be at a disadvantage. Time slowly passed in the Wanchaiwu, and tonight was destined to be another extraordinary night. Almost every 10 minutes or so, a strange existence would descend. And Lin Yi presided over the entire battle, killing all the invading strange existences and transforming them into their power. It must be said that this was a night of rich harvest. A large number of strange existences at the level of human immortals fell into the Wanchaiwu. At least 13 of the strange existences that appeared in the underground maze were transformed into maze guards. The entire underground maze, plus the last captured scorpion and others, has accommodated 20 strange existences at the level of human immortals. However, this number has reached the limit of the underground maze. If Lin Yi, vodka, and his 4 summons are added, and absinthe is barely counted, there are already 27 masters at the level of human immortals in the Wanchaiwu. This is a very huge force. Even for the Empire, it is not easy to take out this level of power in one breath. And with Lin Yi, who is at the 3rd level of the human immortal path, holding the destruction cane, his combat power has completely reached the top level known so far. However, although there is such a powerful force, only people inside Wanchaiwu know it. People outside can't guess that Wanchaiwu has such a strong strength. This will be a huge information gap. If Lin Yi's enemies want to invade Wanchaiwu in the future, this information gap will lead to a huge misjudgment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 348. The consequences and losses caused by then will be too much for the other party to bear. This night finally passed. With the arrival of daylight, the strange beings that raged at night quickly disappeared. They hid in dark corners, avoiding the sun's rays, waiting for the arrival of night. A new round of 8-day siege began again. In the morning, Honglian City was in a state of depression. The sudden changes in the past 2 days made everyone dare not go out easily, hiding at home and relying on savings and food to survive. Even work is mostly done online. The latest news is being broadcast on the news program. At this time, the news of the arrival of the strange existence has spread, and the Empire has not concealed this matter. Instead, it began to tell the information about the strange existence in its entirety and popularize it to all ordinary people. At the same time, a cultivation craze quickly swept the people. The various mortal cultivation methods on the internet spread faster, with hundreds of millions of downloads. This is a very terrifying scene, which means that almost all humans in the Honglian world are studying the method of cultivation. Whether intentional or not, the research information about the mortal way of the Imperial Martial Arts Research Institute was also leaked at the same time. The research information quickly spread across the internet, and countless people in the Red Lotus realm began to study martial arts. Because everyone knows that the next deeds must have the power to protect themselves, otherwise they will become cannon fodder in troubled times. However, research is research, and with the news propaganda of the Empire, the undercurrents of the entire Red Lotus realm quickly calmed down. People in the city also began to resume work one after another. After all, if you want to practice, you also need money to support you, and eating is the most important thing. The cleanup of the strange existence in the outside world also began quickly. Every city is mobilizing and organizing a team of strong people to clean up the strange existence in the vicinity of the city. The main cleanup area is in the area covered by farmland. For the Red Lotus Empire, the most important thing at present is to ensure the stable supply of various mining areas and food. These areas are also rapidly building defense systems. Various purification arrays and energy wave systems are all focused on these areas. The construction time is almost all during the day, and a large number of civilian forces have also begun to appear. The Red Lotus Empire even issued various tasks in the gray area of the mercenary industry, which greatly mobilized the enthusiasm of civilian forces. 3 days passed in a blink of an eye. Under the full-scale cleanup of the Red Lotus Empire, a safe area was basically cleared with cities and towns as the center. However, in this process, many cities and towns were destroyed by strange existences. At the same time, the existence of the sects also appeared in the eyes of the world one after another. Many cities can complete the cleanup work because of the intervention of these sects. These sects seem to have a certain contractual spirit with many cities, and the cleanup of urban and rural circles is over. One after another, martial arts halls related to these sects have sprung up in these cities or towns. A large number of people without sects and schools have joined these martial arts halls. They hope to show their value by practicing in these martial arts halls, and then be accepted as disciples by these sects. And all this was seen by the Red Lotus Empire officials, but they could not intervene. Because on the first day of the disaster, the Red Lotus Empire had already started contact and negotiations with these sects. The plan to spread martial arts all over the world appeared in another way. The official martial arts halls of the Red Lotus Empire also began to spring up in every city and town. Like these sects, they compete for the hidden geniuses among the people. In the second and third world changes, many people obtain spiritual sources, and they are the most promising people of this era. These people have endless potential. As long as any one of them is carefully cultivated, he or she will have the possibility of entering the level of ghost immortals in the future. This is a huge game that is rapidly spreading to every corner of the Red Lotus Empire. At the same time, the various strange organizations in the Red Lotus realm have also begun to change. The arrival of the sect has greatly broken the pattern of the Red Lotus realm. It has begun to touch the interests of these strange organizations. Some conflicts have appeared in many places, and undercurrents are spreading within the Red Lotus Empire. On the night of the Third World Change, the Prime Minister of the Empire, Dong Gong Taiyu, mysteriously disappeared. According to the laws of the Red Lotus Empire, the Deputy Prime Minister will take over the Prime Minister's position and become the new generation of leaders of the Red Lotus Empire. Looking at the information broadcast on the news, Lin Yi sat on his sofa with a cup of coffee and thought quietly. With the official recognition of the weird existence, his business has plummeted recently. The emergence of the Tianxia Buwa plan has led to the birth of a large number of warriors, including real geniuses. For example, in just 1 month, a super genius has stepped into the human immortal way, and a genius who has awakened a mysterious talent and has unparalleled combat power. All of this indicates that a new era is coming. Countless thoughts flashed through Lin Yi's mind. It seems that the business of the Wanchaiwu needs to change. With more and more powerful people, many resentful spirits and weird events can be solved by themselves. I must keep pace with the times and find new ways to make money. Thinking of the time when he called the black-clothed Huang Yiming yesterday to ask if there was any mission. Huang Yiming told him that many immortal masters had come into the blood department recently. Many tasks were divided among them, and even he has become a logistics staff now, and those tasks are not his responsibility. It seems that the only thing left is the wish shrine. The black-clothed man is unreliable. Lin Yi keenly noticed the problem. With more and more masters in the world, there will be more and more ways to deal with strange events. The number of people who come to entrust him will be greatly reduced. A shadow of future business flashed in his mind, and on the other hand, he was already prepared to change the business. These days, he would go outside the city to strangle various strange beings during the day. At night, he would also hunt strange beings in the Wanchaiwu. At this time, the third lotus handprint in his body has lit up 107 times, and the last one will be completely lit. Although I don't know what kind of ability this third lotus handprint will bring him. But there is no doubt that it will bring him a huge improvement, adding a new trump card for him in this chaotic world. Moreover, in the Wanchaiwu, the accumulated power of the mobile thatched house black slate has reached 1000%. This means that the mobile thatched house can be moved 10 times. Although he has never triggered the power of the mobile thatched house black slate. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 349. At least the retreat is guaranteed, Lin Yi thought. Watching the countless information broadcast in the news, countless thoughts flashed through Lin Yi's mind. In the past few days, the alien beings in the Wanchai will have descended, and the density is rapidly decreasing. It seems that the impact of the Third World change is about to reach the node. There are fewer and fewer strange beings outside, and the Red Lotus realm should soon restore peace and stability. But the danger outside is over, and I'm afraid it's the beginning of internal fighting. The sect, the strange organization, and the Red Lotus Empire, the three parties struggle against the Red Lotus realm. With the end of the external threat, I'm afraid it will enter a white-hot stage. I don't know what kind of conflict will occur next, and who will start it. Lin Yi fell into deep thought, and a day passed quickly. There is a place called the North Pole in the Red Lotus realm. In a mysterious time and space, the White Gloves lair, in a huge palace. The leader of the White Gloves sat on a dark throne. There was a hint of coldness in his eyes, looking at the three people in black robes below. Are you ready? Master Chief, everything is almost ready. Once it is completed, the gate to the other world will be opened, and it will be able to swallow up the entire North in a short time. Okay, in a few days, prepare to open the gate to the world and attract the strange power to come. Yes, the three figures answered in unison. The White Gloves leader on the throne had a cold look in his eyes, which was an inhuman look filled with deep darkness. It's almost there, and the last step is not far away. A real weirdo, the Eternal Realm. There was a trace of madness in his eyes, which was a thirst for power. Located at the top of the Snow Lotus Mountains in the northern province of the Red Lotus Realm, there is a snow-white palace built here. This place is shrouded in darkness all year round, without any brilliance, and pure coldness shrouds it. The White Ice Palace occupies the highest peak, and a layer of pure white ice cover that is faintly visible completely covers it. At this time, in the middle of this palace, a handsome man in a Taoist robe is meeting someone. In front of him was Tongshenzi, who was full of energy at this time, and a mysterious aura was flickering on his body. The handsome man in the Taoist robe was the leader of the Nishan Dao sect, Zhu Tongtian. He looked at Tongshenzi and frowned slightly. You didn't step into the earthly immortal path, but only halfway. What happened? Tongshenzi didn't dare to hide anything and whispered, report to the sect master. Daoist sect Baiyuzai suddenly attacked me halfway and caught me off guard. He snatched half of the dragon vein essence and was chasing and fighting. This person is more skilled and completely lost his trace. Zhu Tongtian sneered when he heard this. These Daoist sect people are still dogs that can't change their nature. They are always sneaking around and looking back. They can't make it. Half a foot into the earthly immortal realm, you can also be in the sect to be ranked as an elder or a true disciple. What is your choice? Tongshenzi's eyes flickered slightly when he heard this. Our Shendao sect is headed by our Nishandao section. The 4 elders and 3 true disciples in the sect are all top masters of the earthly immortals. My disciple is only a half-step earthly immortal. I am afraid that I am not capable of reaching this position. So I beg the sect master to give me another chance. Let me have the opportunity to step into a higher level. Zhu Tongtian frowned when he heard this, and looked at Tongshenzi who was kneeling on the ground respectfully, with a hint of hesitation in his eyes. It seems that you are determined to pursue the Tao and are not bound by any fame or fortune. Well, I will show you another way. If you succeed, you will have hope in the future of the heavenly immortal path. If you fail, I am afraid you can only stop at the earthly immortal path. The dragon vein of the Red Lotus realm has been broken, and the third real change has been advanced. Only then can our sect come out in advance and seize the opportunity to oppress the Red Lotus Empire. But this is a good thing for the sect, but it is a bad thing for the Red Forest realm. I think you should know about that strange existence. After the calculations of the elders and me, it is a great catastrophe for the Red Lotus realm. This catastrophe affects the entire Red Lotus realm, and it is impossible to avoid it. So the major sects came out in advance to plan for this catastrophe. And if you want to survive the catastrophe, mastering the power of the Red Lotus Empire is the top priority. The great catastrophe of heaven and earth is a crisis and an opportunity. As long as you can, with the help of the power of the Red Lotus Empire, this catastrophe will be finally eliminated. Then the power of the Red Lotus realm will bless you. When the time comes, with the help of this power, breaking through the earthly immortal path will be a matter of course. This is a gift from the origin of the world, a gift to every warrior. And the source of this catastrophe is those strange beings. There is a limit to killing these strange beings with personal strength. But if you master the power of the Red Lotus Empire and command the entire battle, you will naturally gain attention from the Red Lotus realm and get more power blessing. Once those strange beings are finally eliminated successfully, there is hope to break through the heavenly immortal path. Now do you understand where the opportunity lies? Tongshenzi showed a hint of joy on his face. Thank you for the guidance of the sect master. Zhu Tongtian looked at Tongshenzi and said, don't be too happy too early. Once you enter the catastrophe, you will inevitably be in danger. Not only you, but all the major sects will suffer. Even we old bones will have to do something in the end. After all, this catastrophe is not an ordinary one. This time it is a world catastrophe. If we fail, everyone will die. Except for the legendary Celestial Supreme, no one can escape. Hearing this, Tongshenzi's eyes showed a trace of horror. It is obvious that this catastrophe is extraordinary. The few words that Zhu Tongtian leaked are already very shocking. I will tell you the news here, go down the mountain by yourself. The Arctic city in the northern province has been controlled by us. We must strive to take the position of governor of the Arctic province. I will leave this matter to you. Tongshenzi's face was solemn. I will obey the order of the sect master. Looking at the back of Tongshenzi leaving, Zhu Tongtian frowned, and there was a shadow flickering in his heart. It seems that some unknown danger is shrouding the future. What is going on? Ever since the Third World Change and the advent of the sect, this premonition of danger has become stronger and stronger. It seems that something extremely dangerous is happening. Thinking of this, his eyes flashed with infinite mysterious light, and his eyes looked towards the entire Red Lotus realm. His eyes seemed to penetrate the distance of time and space, exploring all unknown disasters. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 350. Even vaguely, he was spying on time and observing the future. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. But the result was nothing, and there was no trace of the danger he wanted to find. After a while, the light in his eyes slowly disappeared, and a trace of deep solemnity flashed across his eyes. It seems that we should prepare early. The catastrophe, I don't know how many people can survive it. In the ice palace, everything dimmed, and Zhu Tongtian didn't know where he went. At this time, a beam of light shot out from the ice palace and flew towards the capital of the Arctic province, Arctic City. This place has actually become the territory of the Anti-Heaven Dao sect, but it is not the only one. There are also two sects in this northern province, but they are in a competitive and cooperative relationship with them. At this time in the northern province, there are quite a few cities in the white gloves. A huge and dangerous plan is underway. Once it breaks out, it will surely be earth-shattering and shock the world. The Nishan evil sect is located in a mysterious swamp to the west of the Red Lotus realm. There is an underground palace under the swamp. Countless poisonous insects and swamps are natural barriers to the underground palace. At this time, in a side hall of the underground palace, Xingyuez's face was ruddy, and the aura of the whole person had been broken through. An illusory figure floated above his head, and he had already stepped into the realm of the ghost immortal Dao. At this time, the illusory figure above his head opened his eyes, and a faint light flashed from the shadow in an instant. He quickly became solid, like a real person. Very good, the 7 souls are complete, and the first level of the ghost immortal Dao is finally completed. Lin Yi of the Wanchaiwu, you wait for me. A trace of angry and cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. After being defeated by Lin Yi, he almost died, which made Xingyueze feel unprecedented humiliation. This time, he must seek revenge on Lin Yi for his breakthrough in cultivation. Lin Yi has even become his inner demon. The practice of ghost immortal Dao is related to the spirit. Once there is a demon in the heart, it will be very difficult to make further progress. And there will be unknown dangers, attracting the evil demons of the void to come. Whether from the perspective of practice or self-esteem, he must kill Lin Yi, and it must be done quickly. With a trace of solemnity in his eyes, he took a deep breath. Stepping out of the palace where he was, his body was wrapped in a dim shadow, and he quickly left the underground palace. Like an illusory phantom, he silently penetrated the swamp. Standing on the swamp, he walked along the east of the swamp towards the direction of Honglian city. This time, he wanted to take revenge with interest. In the Parliament Hall of the Honglian Empire, a special meeting was taking place at this time. There were more than 30 people present, and they represented the sects, the strange organizations, and the Honglian Empire itself. The person who presided over this meeting at this time was the director of the Weird Object Management Office Xuanhuan, an extremely mysterious existence. He wore a gorgeous black silk robe, with long hair hanging down behind him, and sat quietly in the highest position of the Parliament Hall. Other people from various forces sat around. Huang Yuxian said calmly, "Everyone, now a large number of strange beings have appeared in the Red Lotus realm. We have reached the first step of the negotiation, seeking common ground while reserving differences. Now facing these strange beings, we must show our sincerity and further clean them up. The Empire means that we will provide various equipment and a certain number of auxiliary soldiers. And you send the main combat force to form a clearing team. Do you have any opinions?" A man dressed in a pure white Taoist robe said, "We have read the opinions put forward by the Empire. The suggestions are pertinent and balance all forces. We have no objection from the Dao section. We are willing to provide 72 earthly evil stars, each of whom is a master of the human immortal Dao. You can take over the cleanup work in the eastern province." The Dao sect expressed its position, and the representative of the Beiwasian zone in the righteous way said, "We also agree with the Beiwasian zone. We are willing to provide 49 flower fairies to join the team to be responsible for the cleanup work in the north of the Red Lotus province." The Red Lotus province is located in the center of the entire Red Lotus realm and is also the most powerful place in the Red Lotus Empire. It was unfortunate for the Beiwasian zone that the area they occupied was just to the north of Honglian province. Because of the existence of the Honglian Empire, they could not occupy the entire Honglian province and could only live in peace in a corner. Considering the safety of the sect, they preferred to cooperate with the Empire. Along with the statements of Dao sect and Beiwasian zone, other righteous sects also proposed their own support methods one after another. Some strange organizations, magic sects, and evil sects also put forward their own opinions. The meeting ended in peace, but there was an invisible struggle. Huang Yuxian saw everything, and he knew that the cleanup work would not be so easy to carry out. However, as long as these sects are willing to contribute, it is enough. What the Honglian Empire needs now is stability and rapid adaptation to the Third World change. At the same time, digest all the gains from this change. For these sects and strange forces, the empire adopts a balanced strategy. Borrowing power to fight power, the operation is very delicate, and the empire must show a certain strength. There are only a few people in the entire empire who have the strength to do this, and Xuanhuan is one of them. Okay, since everyone agrees, then let's proceed according to this plan. I hope everyone can work together to resolve the danger of this strange existence. This is not for individuals, but for the peace of the entire Red Lotus realm and the survival rights of all of us humans. His voice was low and powerful, running through everyone's mind. All the representatives present felt an invisible pressure rising in their hearts, and they couldn't help but shut their mouths. Everyone looked at Xuanhuan in shock. The power displayed by the other party was so powerful. It vaguely reminded them of some people in the section. They were all strategic existences at the bottom of the box. Once they took action, they would definitely be earth-shattering. At this time, the representatives of these sects and strange organizations all had an idea in their minds. The empire doesn't seem to be that simple. The meeting was over, and soon the cities in the Red Lotus realm were busy again. The matter of cleaning up the strange existence soon spread, attracting countless attention. The cooperation between the empire, the sect, and the weird organization undoubtedly made everyone in the Red Lotus realm feel at ease. At least the calm on the surface made everyone believe that peace would come again. Lin Yi also saw the news. It seems that the empire, the sect, and the weird organization are not fools. They all understand and fear each other's power, so they reached an agreement so quickly.